Okay, in 3.2b, it's a continuation of solving linear equations. So just some more examples. And you remember the previous video, we have our steps, and basically, to say it very easily, we clean up each, whoa, that's not what I wanted. We clean up each side separately. We get all the variable terms on one side, constant terms are on the other, and recall, in order to do that, we're going to be using addition and subtraction, and you want to get your variable naked, nothing in front, nothing around it. And to do that, we will be using multiplication and division. So recall, we did this example, another example, and we're ready to do a third example. Okay, when I look at this, I go, okay. Is there anything to do over on the left? No. Anything to do on the right? Oh, hoo-hoo! We can clean up that right-hand side. So we see there are common terms, like terms, on the right. So we can add 5y and 1y to get 6y. So we get 6y plus 16, and on the left we still have a negative 20. Now the same thing happens. We're looking at what we've got, and I notice we have just one variable term, and it's on the right. So I'm just going to say, all right, we're going to get all of our variable terms on the right, since that's all we've got. Since we've only got one and he's already there, and therefore we need all of our plain old numbers on the left. So who is out of place? Well, I see that this little 16, a plain old number, shouldn't be on this side, so we want to get rid of it. How do we get rid of it? Well, what's being done with that 16? That 16 is being added, so we want to do the opposite of adding 16. So we want to subtract 16, do it on the right, we've got to do it on the left. The results of that, over on the left, we would have a negative 36, and over on the right, these guys go to 0, so we just have 6y. So at this point, we've got all of our variable terms on the right and all of our number terms on the left. So we are ready for step 3. And again, all of our attention is on this y because we know where we're going. We're trying to get that y all by itself. So our attention is over here. Do we have y by itself? No, there's that pesky 6 in front. What is that 6 doing to y? It's multiplying, so you go, okay, I know what to do. When it's being multiplied by 6, I'm going to do the opposite, which is divide by 6. And I'm going to divide this side by 6. The results, negative 36 divided by 6 is a negative 6. And on the right, these cancel to 1y, and we can just call that y. And you'll notice, well, that's true. Negative 6 equals y in this case, but mathematicians like, well, we want to know what y is. So if you end up with y with your variable over on the right, just pick that baby up and turn it around and rewrite it as that. And I will say, to save some time, the check is left to the student. Okay, next problem. Okay, you know what I'm going to ask. Is there any cleaning up to do? Well, on the left, there's a little bit of cleaning up to do. We can combine like terms, specifically the 4n minus 10n, which would give us a negative 6n, plus 35. And on the right, is there anything to do? Yeah, we can combine 1 minus 2, and we would get minus 1. Okay. I only see one variable term, and it's on the left. So I'll declare left for variable, right for numbers. Who's out of place? That 35. How do we get rid of it? Well, it's being added, so we want to subtract it. And we've got to do it to both sides. Result, negative 6n equals a negative 36. We're almost there. We've almost got n all by itself. What's in the way? That negative 6. What is negative 6 doing to n? It's multiplying, so that tells us we should do the opposite, which is divide by 6. Oops, I'm sorry, divide by a negative 6. Note that. I'm glad that I kind of did that there. You can get rid of the whole thing, both the 6 and the negative, by just dividing by negative 6, because a negative 6 divided by a negative 6 gives us 1. So we've got 1 n, which we all know is the same thing as n. So we've got what we want. And on the right, we've got a negative 36 divided by a negative 6. That would be a positive 6. Okay, how much time do we have here? Let me just check the time. We've got a few minutes. Yeah, we've got time for another problem. Ooh, all these fractions. And I'm going to tell you, shortly I'll show you a way, an alternate way to do this problem. We can get rid of the fractions in one step. But in the meantime, we've always got the option of just dealing with the fractions. So I'm looking and I'm saying, can we do anything to clean up that left-hand side? Well, I see two terms that have x's, so those are like terms, which means we can combine them. So if I'm going to combine these two, oh, you know what we need here. We need a common denominator. And the common denominator between 8 and 4 would be 8. So we still have that 5/8 x, and 1/4 would be 2/8 x, plus 1/2 equals 3/10. Can combine those to give us 3/8 x plus 1/2 equals 3/10. So I'm still in that first step, cleaning up. So now, you know the story here. I notice we've only got one variable term. It's on the left, so I'm going to declare left for variables and the right for number terms. So who's out of place? That 1/2. What are we going to do? We're going to subtract 1/2. Subtract 1/2 from both sides. The results, 3/8 x plus 0. This goes to 0. So we've got 3/8 x on this side. And on the right, well, over on the side, scrap board, 3/10 minus 1/2. And we need common denominator. We would get 5/10. So we would get a negative 2/10. And do you remember what we do next? Because we don't have x all by itself. X is not naked. There's that 3/8 in front. So we think, oh, well, divide by it. But remember, the shortcut, the easier way to divide by a fraction is to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 3/8, which is 8/3. Do it to this side. I've also got to do it to this side. And what's the result? These guys cancel to 1, which is what we wanted. 1x gives us x. And then over here, it looks like we're going to end up with, I'm going to cancel, I'm going to use red here. Both of these are divisible by 2, so we would have 4 and 5, nothing else to cancel. Final answer, negative 8/15. Okay, we better just quit here, and I'll do a few more problems in the next video.